Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Star Wars channel. I'm so glad you've drifted in tonight, carried on a quiet current of the Force. Maybe your day has been long, filled with its own battles and victories, or maybe you're simply ready to rest among familiar stars. Wherever you've come from and whatever you carry, you can set it down now. Let your breathing soften. Let your shoulders unclench, and let your thoughts begin to float as gently as a starship sliding into hyperspace. Tonight, we travel into the life of a man who embodied patience, kindness, and quiet courage. A Jedi whose calm voice and steady heart shaped the fate of the galaxy. A guardian who watched over hope, even in the darkest hours. Obi-Wan Kenobi. From his early days as a youngling in the Jedi Temple, to the wisdom he carried across the Clone Wars, to the quiet years he spent under Tatooine's twin suns, his life forms a tapestry of resilience, compassion, and luminous serenity. As you settle deeper into comfort, we'll explore 100 gentle, sleepy reflections about his journey. Not to overwhelm you, but to guide your mind into peaceful wandering. Each fact is a soft step through his story, a warm, calming lantern held in the night. So close your eyes, let the stars gather around you like a blanket, and may the Force be with you always. As we begin our quiet voyage into the life of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Guardian of Hope. 1. A child of Stewjon. Where quiet destiny first stirred. On a distant, peaceful world called Stewjon, far from the turbulence of the core, a small child was born beneath gentle skies. Obi-Wan Kenobi began life not with grandeur, but with the soft simplicity that often precedes great destiny. In those earliest days, the Force shimmered around him like a warm breeze, subtle yet unmistakably bright. The Jedi sensed this glow, a calm presence that drifted across the galaxy like a quiet song. Even as an infant, Obi-Wan's spirit carried a serenity that would one day guide armies, apprentices, and entire eras of hope. And in that soft beginning, beneath Stewjon's starlit nights, the Force whispered of a path only he could walk. And somewhere beyond those clouds, another story was already waiting to awaken. 2. Found by the Jedi. The first embrace of the Force. When the Jedi Order discovered him, Obi-Wan was still young enough that his memories of Stewjon became only faint echoes. Yet the moment he was brought to the temple, it was as though the ancient halls exhaled in welcome. Quiet marble corridors, fountains shimmering in the light, and the gentle hum of training sabers. All of it formed the cradle of his childhood. The Jedi Masters recognized a rare steadiness within him. Not fiery like some, not rebellious like others, but thoughtful, attentive, already listening to the subtle rhythms of the Force. They nurtured that stillness, allowing him to grow like a well-rooted tree in a calm garden. And as the temple's doors opened to him, so too did the galaxy. In that peaceful embrace, another chapter of destiny began to unfold. 3. Training at the temple. Youngling days of wonder. As a youngling, Obi-Wan walked the luminous training rooms of the Jedi Temple with quiet fascination. Every lesson, from meditation to lightsaber forms, felt like unlocking a secret language spoken by the Force itself. He listened carefully, absorbing wisdom the way Tatooine sand absorbs the warmth of sunrise. During sparring sessions, he moved with patience rather than aggression. During meditation, he slipped easily into stillness, as though the entire galaxy paused to breathe with him. Even his instructors sensed that this young boy had a rare gift, the ability to remain calm in moments where others rushed forward. Those early days shaped him gently, like waves smoothing stone. And from that tranquility, another thread of his journey began to shimmer in the light. 4. Aptitude for patience. The quiet strength within. From the very beginning of his training, Obi-Wan displayed a gentle gift that set him apart from many younglings. Patience. While others hurried through their exercises or strained to master new techniques, he moved with a soft steadiness, never rushing, never forcing, simply allowing the Force to guide him. His teachers noticed that he listened deeply, not only to instructions, but to the subtle silences between them. In meditation, he breathed with a calm maturity far beyond his years, embracing stillness like an old friend. This early harmony foreshadowed the Jedi he would become: measured, thoughtful, unwavering. And in that quiet strength, the Force stirred softly, guiding him toward his next teacher. 5. The trials of youth. Lessons in humility and growth. Even the most serene youngling encounters moments of struggle, and Obi-Wan was no exception. There were times when self-doubt crept in, whispering through the edges of his confidence. Lightsaber drills felt overwhelming, and the complexities of the Force seemed endless. Yet it was in these challenges that he learned humility, the understanding that mastery is not born from perfection, but from persistence and grace. The Temple Masters taught him to breathe through frustration, to accept missteps as stepping stones, and to trust that the Force flows strongest in hearts willing to learn. Each obstacle became a lantern of wisdom, illuminating the path ahead. And with every lesson, he grew more attuned to the destiny waiting quietly beyond the temple walls. 6. Meeting Qui-Gon Jinn. A master's presence in the Force. The day Obi-Wan met Qui-Gon Jinn, something within the Force seemed to ripple with quiet purpose. Qui-Gon was unlike many Jedi, contemplative, compassionate, guided by the living Force in ways that others sometimes misunderstood. Yet Obi-Wan felt an immediate resonance, as though his own calm nature had finally discovered its counterpart. Qui-Gon saw potential in the young Padawan, a heart capable of great wisdom, and a spirit steady enough to weather even the fiercest storms. Their bond would become one of the most profound in Jedi history, an anchor of trust, respect, and destiny. In that first meeting, beneath the soft glow of temple light, a path intertwined, and from that connection, the next chapter of Obi-Wan's journey began to breathe into being. 7. A bond of master and apprentice, trust forged in quiet moments. When Obi-Wan became Qui-Gon Jinn's Padawan, their connection deepened with a natural ease, like two streams joining into one gentle river. Though their temperaments differed, Qui-Gon, the unconventional wanderer, Obi-Wan, the disciplined learner, the Force wove their strengths together. In long journeys across distant stars, they spoke of balance, compassion, and the subtle harmonies that guide a Jedi's path. Qui-Gon encouraged curiosity, teaching him that the living Force whispers in the present moment, not just in ancient texts. In return, Obi-Wan offered steadfast loyalty, grounding his master's bold spirit. Through quiet conversations and shared silence, their trust grew unshakable. And that bond would soon be tested by the vast galaxy waiting beyond. 8. First steps beyond Coruscant, the galaxy unfolds before him. Obi-Wan's earliest missions with Qui-Gon carried him far from the serene corridors of the Jedi Temple into worlds rich with color, culture, and unseen challenges. In the bustling markets of distant planets, he learned diplomacy. In the misty forests of remote moons, he practiced sensing the Force among living things. Each new world widened his understanding, reminding him that the galaxy was filled with countless lives, each deserving of peace. Traveling alongside Qui-Gon, he discovered that a Jedi's duty wasn't merely to fight, but to listen, to observe, to soothe tensions before they ignited. These experiences shaped him more than he realized, and with every step into the unknown, another layer of his destiny quietly awakened. 9. Learning the living force. A student of presence and peace. Under Qui-Gon's guidance, Obi-Wan began to understand the living force not as a distant mystery, but as a gentle pulse flowing through all things. He learned to be present, to feel the breeze on unfamiliar worlds, to sense the intentions hidden behind a stranger's words, to trust the subtle nudges that guided him toward harmony. This awareness helped him move gracefully through conflict, relying not on fear or calculation, but on intuition shaped by compassion. In quiet meditations beside his master, he practiced letting go of doubt, allowing the living force to carry him like a current beneath the stars. And from this deepening wisdom, the path to his future grew clearer, illuminated by calm, patient light. 10. A lightsaber of his own, the quiet pride of a new blade. When Obi-Wan constructed his first lightsaber, it was not a moment of celebration, but of soft reverence. Within the quiet chambers of the Jedi Temple, he shaped each component with deliberate care, guided by the whisper of the Force. The crystal he chose resonated with a calm, steady glow, a reflection of his own inner clarity. When the blade finally ignited, its blue light filled the room like the dawn of a gentle morning, shimmering with promise. Holding it, Obi-Wan felt not power, but responsibility, a serene awareness that this weapon existed to protect life, never to dominate it. And with that soft hum of energy, the next steps of his journey shimmered faintly ahead. 11. The mission to Naboo, a young Jedi. Tested by fate, Obi-Wan's first major test came when he and Qui-Gon were dispatched to negotiate peace in the crisis unfolding around Naboo. The mission quickly spiraled into danger, ushering him from the familiar serenity of the temple into the unpredictable tides of galactic politics. Yet amid starship battles, droid armies, and shifting alliances, Obi-Wan remained composed. He observed his master's calm adaptability, learning that the Force often flowed strongest when one accepted uncertainty with grace. It was here that he took his first true steps as a Jedi Knight in training, facing obstacles that demanded courage beyond his years. And through the turbulence of Naboo, destiny moved quietly into position. 12. Duel with the Darkness, confronting Darth Maul's shadow. The duel with Darth Maul was a moment unlike any Obi-Wan had ever faced. A storm of spinning blades, thrumming energy, and fierce intent. In the heat of battle, he felt the Force surge within him, urging him to remain centered even as fear pressed in. When Qui-Gon fell, pain cracked through his composure, yet Obi-Wan held to his training, letting grief pass through him like a wind over desert stone. His final strike came from clarity, not rage, a testament to the discipline he had cultivated since childhood. In that moment, he stepped fully into knighthood, shaped by loss and luminous resolve. And beyond the fading sparks of Maul's defeat, another chapter of his destiny began to rise. 13. A promise to a fallen master, carrying Qui-Gon's final wish. As Qui-Gon lay fading in Obi-Wan's arms, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The battle's echoes quieted, leaving only the soft hum of the Force around them. With his final strength, Qui-Gon entrusted Obi-Wan with a task that would shape the fate of the stars. to train the boy, Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan accepted not out of duty alone, but out of love, a final act of devotion to the Master who had guided his heart with such gentleness. That promise became a quiet flame within him, glowing even in moments of doubt. And from that vow, solemn and tender, the future began to turn toward its luminous and shadowed paths. 14. The Jedi trials passed, nighted in the stillness of loss. In the aftermath of the Naboo crisis, Obi-Wan completed his trials under circumstances few Jedi could imagine. His mastery had been proven not just through combat, but through restraint, clarity, and compassion in unimaginable grief. When the Council named him a Jedi Knight, there was no triumph in his heart, only a serene resolve. He stood beneath the temple's soft light, feeling Qui-Gon's teachings linger like a warm breeze. Becoming a knight marked not an ending, but a beginning, the start of his journey as a teacher, a guardian, and a bearer of hope in a galaxy trembling with change. And within that gentle transition, the Force flowed onward, guiding him toward a new responsibility. 15. Protecting Padme Amidala. Duty intertwined with intuition. Not long after becoming a knight, Obi-Wan and his new apprentice, Anakin, were assigned to protect Senator Padme Amidala. Though danger surrounded her, Obi-Wan approached the mission with calm vigilance, trusting both his instincts and the quiet currents of the Force. Through political intrigue, assassination attempts, and whispered conspiracies, he served as a stabilizing presence, a lighthouse in turbulent waters. His perceptiveness allowed him to sense hidden motives, while his patience guided Anakin through uncertainty. In safeguarding Padme, he strengthened the bond with his apprentice and deepened his understanding of the galaxy's shifting tides. And in those shadowed corridors of duty, another step in destiny's long journey quietly revealed itself. 16. Guiding the Chosen One, a teacher's quiet resolve training. Anakin Skywalker was both an honor and a weight that rested softly but firmly on Obi-Wan's shoulders. He approached his role not with grand expectations, but with patience shaped by years of reflection. Though Anakin possessed unmatched talent, Obi-Wan believed that true strength lay in humility and balance. He taught his apprentice to breathe before acting, to listen before speaking, and to look inward for calm when the galaxy became loud. Their bond grew through shared missions, quiet meditations, and moments where master and student simply existed side by side. And through this gentle mentorship, Obi-Wan continued to shape the destiny that Qui-Gon had passed into his keeping. 17. Lessons in attachment. A Jedi's gentle warnings. In guiding Anakin, Obi-Wan often found himself navigating the delicate terrain of attachment, a challenge as old as the Jedi Order itself. He sensed the intensity of Anakin's emotions, bright as a star on the verge of burning too hot. With soft guidance, Obi-Wan explained the Jedi teaching that love, compassion, and care were not forbidden, but clinging, fear, and possession could cloud the mind. His words were never harsh. Instead, he offered them like lanterns, illuminating a path that Anakin sometimes struggled to follow. Obi-Wan hoped that with time and patience, these lessons would settle like calm water around his apprentice's heart. And, they knew, that hope, the Force, whispered both promise and caution. 18. A steady voice in turbulence, holding balance amid rising storms. As political tensions spread throughout the Republic, Obi-Wan remained a quiet anchor. Senate debates grew heated, systems drifted into unrest, and shadows lengthened across the galaxy. Yet he carried himself with the same serene composure he had nurtured since childhood. Whether mediating disputes or uncovering hidden dangers, he spoke with clarity and gentleness, easing conflict instead of inflaming it. Others in the Order respected his unwavering calm, a trait that helped him navigate challenges that would soon erupt into full-scale war. In the storm's early murmurs, Obi-Wan embodied the Jedi ideal, a still point in a galaxy beginning to tremble. And from that stillness, the next stage of his journey awaited its quiet unfolding. 19. The growing bond with Anakin, brothers beneath the stars. As years passed, the connection between Obi-Wan and Anakin deepened into something far more profound than the traditional bond between Master and Padawan. They became brothers, sharing victories, losses, and quiet moments beneath distant stars. In the stillness between missions, they spoke not as teacher and student, but as companions shaped by the same destiny. Obi-Wan admired Anakin's bravery, while Anakin found comfort in Obi-Wan's steady wisdom. Though their personalities often clashed, their loyalty remained unshaken, woven together by countless shared experiences. And in that brotherhood, tender and complicated, the Force whispered both harmony and the promise of storms yet to come. 20. Whispers of coming conflict. Shadows stretching across the galaxy. Even before the first blaster bolt of the Clone Wars was fired, Obi-Wan sensed a subtle disturbance in the Force, a trembling beneath the surface of galactic peace. Political tensions sharpened like distant thunder, and strange alliances formed in quiet corners of the galaxy. Though he investigated these mysteries with patience, the answers always seemed just out of reach. The Council felt the shift as well, yet no one could grasp the true scale of the darkness gathering. Obi-Wan walked through these uncertain days with calm vigilance, listening carefully to the Force for guidance. And as the shadows deepened, the galaxy edged ever closer to a storm that would change countless lives. 21. The Clone Wars begin. A galaxy plunged into chaos. When war finally erupted, it spread across the stars like wildfire, transforming worlds overnight. Obi-Wan stepped into the role of general with quiet determination, carrying the same steady presence he had shown since his earliest days in the temple. Though the galaxy trembled with fear, he remained centered, guiding soldiers and Jedi alike with clarity and compassion. The beginning of the Clone Wars marked a turning point, one that demanded courage, sacrifice, and unwavering hope. Through battles on distant planets and missions fraught with danger, Obi-Wan held firmly to the ideals of the Jedi, refusing to let conflict dim his inner light. And in the heart of this vast upheaval, the next chapter of his destiny took flight. 22. General Kenobi. Calm leadership amid galactic fire. As the Clone Wars unfolded, Obi-Wan became known not only as a Jedi Master, but as General Kenobi, a leader whose calm presence steadied entire battalions. While chaos swept across the galaxy, he approached each battle with measured clarity, never allowing fear or anger to guide his actions. His strategies were thoughtful, rooted in patience rather than aggression, and his troops came to trust his quiet confidence. In the swirling fire of war, Obi-Wan stood like a serene beacon, guiding others with wisdom and compassion. And through every campaign, the Force moved gently around him, whispering of challenges still waiting beyond the horizon. 23. The Negotiator. A reputation born of wisdom. Though a skilled warrior, Obi-Wan earned a different kind of fame among allies and enemies alike, the title of the Negotiator. He had an uncanny ability to diffuse tension with reason, empathy, and a hint of gentle humor. When others reached for their blasters, Obi-Wan reached for understanding. His calm voice could soften hostility, and his insight often revealed peaceful paths hidden beneath turmoil. Even amid war, he remained true to the Jedi ideal of resolving conflict through dialogue before violence. This reputation became a quiet legend, spreading across systems in whispers and grateful stories. And from each successful negotiation, the galaxy remembered that hope could still take gentle forms. 24. Battles on distant worlds. Walking the edge of war and wonder. Throughout the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan traveled to worlds both familiar and unimaginable. Icy plains, shimmering oceans, desert moons glowing beneath twin suns. Each planet carried its own rhythm, its own struggles, and its own lives worth defending. In every mission, he balanced the demands of the battlefield with the mindfulness of a Jedi, never losing sight of the living force flowing beneath the conflict. Whether leading troops through smoke-filled trenches or meditating under alien skies, Obi-Wan remained connected to a quiet center within himself. These journeys shaped him deeply, reminding him that even in war, beauty and wonder lingered in the corners of the galaxy. And from those distant landscapes, the next threads of his destiny began to weave together. 25. Friendship with Commander Cody, trust formed in the fires of war. Among the many soldiers who served under Obi-Wan, none stood closer to him than Commander Cody. Their bond was built not on rank, but on mutual respect. A quiet trust shaped by countless missions and shared dangers. Cody admired Obi-Wan's steady leadership, while Obi-Wan valued Cody's loyalty, precision, and calm resolve. Together, they navigated the shifting tides of battle, each relying on the other's strengths with unspoken understanding. In the brief lulls between conflicts, they shared moments of gentle camaraderie, the kind formed only in the heart of war. And through that companionship, Obi-Wan's journey was touched by a rare warmth, one that made the coming darkness all the more tragic. 26. Facing Count Dooku. Grace in the shadow of a fallen Jedi. Obi-Wan crossed blades with Count Dooku many times, each duel a dance of elegance and sorrow. He felt the lingering grace of the Jedi Dooku had once been, woven through the sharp precision of the Sith he had become. Every encounter required not only skill, but emotional restraint, a steady refusal to let anger take hold. Obi-Wan met Dooku's power with calm focus, moving as though guided by a gentle current. Even in the heat of combat, he saw the tragedy of a great mind twisted by darkness, and with each clash, he understood more deeply how fragile the line between light and shadow could be. 27. Journey to Geonosis, where war first opened its wings. The first battle of Geonosis marked a turning point, not just for the Republic, but for Obi-Wan himself. What began as an investigation spiraled into a vast conflict, revealing the hidden army of clones and the full might of the Separatists. Standing amid the dust and thunder of that endless arena, Obi-Wan felt the shift in the galaxy as clearly as a tremor in the Force. The ideals of the Jedi were being drawn into a war none of them had foreseen. Yet even in that moment, he remained centered, guiding Anakin and Padme with steady courage as chaos broke open around them. And from Geonosis's shadowed sands, the long twilight of the Clone Wars began to spread its wings. 28. Guarding the Republic, a calm heart amid expanding conflict. As the battles of the Clone Wars spread across sector after sector, Obi-Wan carried the weight of defending the Republic with a steady, composed heart. He moved through each mission with clarity, never motivated by power, victory, or pride, but by the simple belief that peace was worth protecting. Whether addressing the Senate, coordinating with fellow Jedi, or comforting frightened civilians, he embodied the quiet reassurance of a true guardian. Even when the galaxy seemed to unravel at the edges, Obi-Wan's presence remained like a warm lantern in a darkened corridor. And through every challenge, he held faithfully to the Jedi ideal, knowing the Force would guide him through the turbulence ahead. 29. Anakin's growing power. Hope entwined with worry. As Anakin's abilities grew, so too did Obi-Wan's conflicting emotions. Pride in his former Padawan's extraordinary skill and concern for the intensity burning within him. He saw the brilliance in Anakin's heart, bright as a star, ready to reshape the galaxy. Yet he also sensed the shadows gathering beneath that radiance. Obi-Wan tried to offer gentle guidance, reminding Anakin that strength and compassion must rise together. But the war pushed them both into constant motion, leaving little time for reflection. Still, he held on to hope, the hope that his brother-in-arms would one day find balance. And within that hope, the Force murmured softly, hinting at paths yet unseen. 30. A galaxy at war. Quiet reflections between battles. Between missions, in rare moments of stillness, Obi-Wan often sat alone beneath alien skies, letting the sounds of distant wildlife blend with the steady rhythm of his breathing. War had changed the Jedi. It had changed everyone. Yet he searched for peace within himself, a calm shore amid gathering waves. In these hushed interludes, he reflected on choices made, lives lost, and the growing tension he felt in the Force. Despite the darkness slowly encroaching, he remained anchored by his unwavering faith in compassion and balance. And from those quiet reflections, he prepared himself for the fateful encounters waiting just beyond the next sunrise. 31. Satine Cries and Mandalore. A quiet love. Unspoken. There was a time, long before the weight of war settled across the stars, when Obi-Wan traveled to Mandalore with Qui-Gon to protect a young duchess named Satine Cries. In those days, the galaxy felt gentler, and Obi-Wan discovered a connection unlike any he had known. Satine's ideals of peace resonated with his own, and though his Jedi path asked for detachment, the warmth between them glowed softly, like lantern light beneath the armor of duty. Their affection remained unspoken, tucked gently into shared glances and quiet moments. It was a love shaped by respect, restraint, and the understanding that destiny had chosen different roads for them both. And in that tender crossroads, a memory was etched that would echo through Obi-Wan's life forever. 32. A mission of peace, upholding ideals in a divided world. Years later, when the Clone Wars fractured countless systems, Obi-Wan returned to Mandalore to help Satine protect her people from rising turmoil. Standing beside her again, he found not the quiet Mandalore of their youth, but a world divided by ideology and fear. Yet Satine remained a beacon of hope, her voice steady and her beliefs unwavering. Obi-Wan admired her courage deeply, offering support not only as a Jedi, but as a friend who understood the weight she carried. Their conversations were gentle, filled with the unspoken history between them. Together, they tried to shield Mandalore from violence, clinging to the belief that peace could still prevail. And in that shared struggle, the Force stirred softly, reminding him of paths once imagined and left behind. 33. The Shadow of Maul returns, a cycle reopened by darkness. Just when the galaxy seemed to stretch thin with conflict, a familiar shadow returned. Darth Maul, reborn through rage and suffering. For Obi-Wan, the news felt like an old wound reopening, one he believed had been sealed on Naboo. Maul's reappearance rippled through the Force, carrying echoes of unfinished destiny. Obi-Wan confronted him not with hatred, but with the calm resilience he had cultivated through years of loss and learning. Their clash was fierce, yet beneath it ran a current of tragedy. Two lives intertwined by violence neither had chosen. And as Maul's presence spread across Mandalore, Obi-Wan sensed that the past was folding quietly into the present, guiding him toward trials he had long hoped never to face again. 34. The fall of Duchess Satine, grief beneath the armor of calm. When Satine Kryze was taken by Maul, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath in a single, trembling pause. Obi-Wan rushed to her side, carrying not the fury of a warrior, but the quiet desperation of a man who had known a gentle love he could never claim. In her final moments, Satine spoke words he would carry for the rest of his life, an affirmation of the bond they had always held in silence. Her loss settled over him like a cold dusk, yet he did not let anger consume him. Instead, he honored her memory through compassion, restraint, and the enduring belief in peace. And in the stillness of that heartbreak, a piece of his spirit folded softly into memory. 35. The student becomes the rival. Anakin's shifting path. As the Clone Wars continued, Obi-Wan began to sense a growing distance between himself and Anakin, not out of lack of affection, but from the intensity of Anakin's internal struggle. The once bright, eager apprentice now carried storms behind his eyes, flashes of fear, impatience, and longing. Obi-Wan tried to reach him with gentle words and quiet reminders of the Jedi way. But the war demanded constant motion, pulling them apart just when they needed each other most. He still believed deeply in Anakin's goodness, yet subtle unease rippled through the Force. And in those fragile moments between missions, Obi-Wan felt the faint tremor of destinies beginning to diverge. 36. Visions of darkness. The Council's quiet concerns. Within the Jedi Temple, whispers of disturbance drifted like distant thunder. The Council felt it. Obi-Wan felt it. Something dark had begun to coil around Anakin's future, though none could see where the shadow truly originated. Seeking clarity, the Council relied on Obi-Wan's steady insight, trusting that he understood Anakin better than anyone. He approached their concerns with quiet honesty, acknowledging both Anakin's brilliance and his vulnerabilities. Yet even in voicing his worries, Obi-Wan carried no judgment, only hope that guidance and patience would help Anakin find balance. And as he searched the currents of the Force, the shape of coming sorrow pressed gently at the edges of his awareness, a warning waiting to be understood. 37. A brother's distance. Quiet worry in the spaces between. As battles raged across the galaxy, Obi-Wan noticed subtle changes in Anakin that tugged softly at his heart. Their laughter came less often. Their conversations grew shorter, burdened by unspoken fears. When they stood side by side, Obi-Wan sometimes sensed Anakin drifting somewhere far away, wrapped in thoughts he could not share. Still, Obi-Wan held on to the love he felt for him, the love of a brother, shaped through years of trust, danger, and devotion. He hoped that time, patience, and compassion would bring them back into harmony. And in those quiet spaces between missions, the Force carried a distant ache, a whisper of a bond being gently pulled apart. 38. The final days of the war. Tension in the Force's silent currents. In the final days of the Clone Wars, a strange stillness washed through the Force, like the calm before a desert sandstorm. Obi-Wan felt it in meditation, in battle, even in the brief moments when he allowed himself to rest. Something vast was shifting beneath the surface of the galaxy, unseen, yet undeniable. Decisions made in high chambers, movements of armies, the trembling of political foundations, all of it pressed together into a quiet crescendo. Obi-Wan carried on with focused serenity, following each mission with unwavering duty, though a subtle unease gathered in his chest. And through that muted tension, destiny prepared to turn its greatest, most devastating page. 39. The March Toward Doom. Echoes of Order. 66. Though Obi-Wan could not see the exact shape of the darkness approaching, he felt its echoes, faint vibrations like footsteps drawing closer through mist. He trusted the Jedi, the Senate, and the Republic, yet something about the Chancellor's growing influence troubled him. The Force felt clouded, as though shrouded by a veil of smoke. Even so, Obi-Wan remained committed to the path before him, unaware of the trap carefully woven around every Jedi across the stars. He continued to defend worlds, guide troops, and honor his role, believing the war neared its end. And beneath that hopeful belief, the shadow of Order 66 stretched quietly toward him, silent, patient, ready. 40. A Jedi's Last Stand as General. Clarity in the storm's final breath. As the war reached its final crescendo, Obi-Wan found himself moving through the conflict with a strange, poignant clarity. He had long grown accustomed to the demands of leadership, the weight of lives placed gently in his hands. But something in the Force told him the battles ahead were different, sharper, heavier, wrapped in threads of fate he couldn't fully see. Even so, he carried himself with the same steadfast calm, guiding his troops with compassion and resolve. Each decision felt like a final note in a song he had been singing for years. And as the storm gathered around him, the Force whispered of an ending and a beginning intertwined. 41. Returning from Utapau, a fateful mission draws to its close. On Utapau, Obi-Wan defeated General Grievous in a battle that seemed to promise the war's approaching conclusion. The winds howled across the planet's cavernous sinkholes as he stood catching his breath, believing he had struck a decisive blow for peace. Yet even in victory, he sensed an unease lingering at the edges of the Force, a quiet tremor that unsettled the calm he worked so hard to maintain. As he prepared to return to Coruscant, that feeling deepened, as though destiny itself were holding its breath. And on the journey home, carried through hyperspace, the currents of the Force murmured of heartbreak waiting just beyond the next horizon. 42. Grievous defeated, the illusion of an ending. The defeat of Grievous should have marked the moment the galaxy began to heal, but instead, it revealed only how fragile the Republic's peace truly was. Standing amid the echoes of battle, Obi-Wan felt both triumph and a subtle dread, sensing the pieces of the war no longer fit together as they once had. The separatist forces were collapsing, yet the Force felt darker than ever, clouded, muffled, distant. He knew something more was at play, something vast and hidden. What he could not know was that the true enemy had already moved his final pieces into place. And in that quiet illusion of victory, the path toward his greatest sorrow gently unfolded. 43. A friend, lost to the Sith, learning of Anakin's fall. When Obi-Wan learned the truth, that Anakin had turned to the Sith, the moment struck him like a silent, unseen blow. It wasn't anger that filled him, nor disbelief. but a deep, aching sorrow that seemed to echo through the Force. To him, Anakin was not a warrior to be hunted or an enemy to confront, but the boy he had trained, the brother he had loved, and the hope he had nurtured for so many years. Every memory of their shared laughter, their victories, their struggles shimmered painfully in his mind. And in that quiet grief, the Force wrapped around him like a cold wind, urging him toward a heartbreaking duty he never wished to face. 44. Flight to Mustafar, a heart heavy with sorrow. The journey to Mustafar felt unbearably long, even as hyperspace streaked past in flowing ribbons of blue. Obi-Wan sat alone, hands folded, eyes lowered, breathing through the ache that pressed gently against his chest. He did not want to confront Anakin, not as an enemy, not as a fallen Jedi, not as the echo of a friend he feared he had failed. But Padme's desperate plea and the warnings whispered by the Force left him no choice. As her ship descended toward the fiery world, the air seemed thick with destiny. And in that molten silence, the path of master and apprentice drew toward a painful, inevitable crossing. 45. The Battle of the Heroes, a duel of destiny and despair. On the burning banks of Mustafar, Obi-Wan faced Anakin in a duel that shook not only the ground beneath them, but the deepest chambers of his heart. Their blades clashed with the ferocity of two stars colliding, yet behind every strike lingered grief, love, and the echo of countless shared memories. Obi-Wan fought not with rage, but with sorrowful clarity, trying again and again to reach the boy he once knew. But darkness clouded Anakin's mind, twisting every word into fuel for anger. And as the flames roared around them, Obi-Wan realized that destiny had led them to this heartbreaking divide, a moment where love and tragedy intertwined like braided strands of the Force itself. 46. A brother left behind, the ache of compassion. When the duel on Mustafar reached its devastating end, Obi-Wan stood trembling on the blackened shoreline, watching the friend he loved slip into darkness. His heart felt heavy, weighted by memories of a boy he had trained, laughed with, and believed in. He could not bring himself to strike the final blow, not out of weakness, but out of love. With tears he did not shed, he walked away, carrying the unbearable knowledge that he had lost a brother to the shadows. And in that quiet retreat, beneath the roar of molten rivers, the Force wrapped around him like a sorrowed sigh, guiding him toward the fragile light that still remained. 47. Carrying the children's hope, Luke and Leia's first breath of destiny. In the dim, trembling hours after the fall of Anakin Skywalker, two new lives entered the galaxy, tiny sparks of hope born from tragedy. Obi-Wan held baby Luke for the first time, feeling the soft, luminous presence of the Force shining within him. Padme's final words echoed through his heart, reminding him that there was still goodness, still promise, still a future worth protecting. Together with Yoda and Bail Organa, he helped shape a plan to hide the twins, keeping them safe from the rising shadow of the Empire. And in the gentle weight of that newborn child, Obi-Wan sensed the beginning of a long and patient vigil. 48. The Broken Order, ruins of a vanished temple. Returning to the Jedi Temple after Order 66 was like stepping into a dream turned to ash. The halls that once echoed with laughter, meditation, and the hum of training sabers now stood silent, a graveyard of memories. Obi-Wan moved through the devastation with quiet reverence, taking in the remnants of a life he had known since childhood. Every fallen knight and Padawan weighed heavily on his spirit, yet he did not crumble. Instead, he gathered what strength remained, honoring the order not through anger, but through remembrance. And in the stillness of those shattered chambers, he understood that the Jedi were not gone, only sleeping, waiting for the Force to guide their return. 49. Exile chosen, duty shaped into silence. After the fall of the Jedi and the birth of the Empire, Obi-Wan slipped into exile with the quiet acceptance of someone who understood that hope sometimes must be guarded from the shadows. He did not flee in fear, but in purpose, carrying the knowledge that young Luke Skywalker represented the galaxy's distant, dawning light. Though the weight of his grief was immense, he bore it gently, allowing the Force to guide his steps. Leaving behind the ruins of his old life, he embraced anonymity, knowing that his presence must remain hidden. And with that solemn choice, he stepped into a new chapter of existence, one shaped not by battle, but by watchful patience. 50. Watching the twins' future begin. Seeds of new hope. Before retreating to Tatooine, Obi-Wan ensured that baby Leia found a home within the loving arms of the Organa family, her life destined to flourish in safety and grace. Luke, meanwhile, would grow under the care of Owen and Beru Lars, simple moisture farmers whose quiet kindness formed a protective cocoon around the boy. As Obi-Wan watched the twins set forth on their separate paths, a gentle hope bloomed in his heart. Their lives, though born of tragedy, shimmered with the promise of balance restored. And in those soft beginnings, he felt the Force whisper that the story was far from over, only resting for a time, like stars waiting for nightfall. 51. A hermit named Ben, a new identity beneath the twin suns. On Tatooine, Obi-Wan set aside the mantle of Jedi Master and became Ben, a quiet hermit living on the edges of the Jundland wastes. His days blended into one another like grains of sand carried by desert winds, tending a small shelter, gathering water, watching the sun set twice across a horizon that hummed with ancient calm. To those few who encountered him, he seemed unremarkable, a wandering soul seeking solitude. Yet beneath this humble disguise, the heart of a Jedi still beat steadily, guided by purpose. And from that quiet life in the dunes, the long vigil began, a waiting filled with patience, purpose, and the soft glow of hope. 52. Life in the Jundland wastes, harshness and stillness intertwined. The Jundland wastes were a land of contrasts, harsh by day, silent by night. And in their shifting sands, Obi-Wan found both challenge and solace. Each morning, the suns climbed together over the dunes, washing the world in gold. Obi-Wan learned the rhythms of the desert, the winding paths of wandering banthas, the cries of distant womp rats, the shimmering heat that danced across the horizon. Though the landscape was unforgiving, it carried a quiet beauty, a reminder that even barren places could hold ancient wisdom. In the solitude of the desert, he listened to the Force more deeply than ever before. And in that vast stillness, he felt destiny resting like a gentle weight on the wind. 53. Watching over Luke, the quiet promise. Kept from afar, Obi-Wan watched young Luke Skywalker grow, a small boy racing across sand dunes, chasing adventure with the same restless spark Anakin once carried. Obi-Wan kept his distance, allowing Luke the freedom of an ordinary childhood, but he never allowed true danger to come near. Whenever Tusken Raiders approached, or strangers wandered too close, Obi-Wan guided events with a soft, unseen hand. He was guardian, shadow, and silent protector all at once. Though Luke never knew the depth of the watchful presence keeping him safe, Obi-Wan felt a quiet joy in seeing the boy flourish, and with each passing year, he sensed the Force gently shaping Luke's path toward the destiny that awaited him. 54. Communing with the Force, lessons from beyond the veil. In the quiet of his desert home, Obi-Wan began learning the deepest teachings of the Jedi. Those whispered only to a few, passed from one luminous spirit to another. Through meditation, he reached out into the shimmering stillness of the Force, where the echo of Qui-Gon's voice awaited him. Their connection grew slowly, like a seed pushing through warm soil. Qui-Gon guided him toward understanding how life continues beyond form, how consciousness becomes light, how love becomes presence. These lessons did not erase Obi-Wan's grief, but they soothed it, wrapping his heart in gentle clarity. And from those sacred conversations, a new serenity blossomed, one that would guide him through the long years ahead. 55. The Anchorhead Markets, simple rhythms of a hidden life. From time to time, Obi-Wan ventured into the modest markets of Anchorhead, wrapped in a worn cloak and moving with the unhurried pace of a traveler who wished to be unnoticed. Vendors bartered over moisture evaporators, spare droid parts, and faded fabrics bleached by the suns. Amid the swirl of voices and desert scents, Obi-Wan blended quietly into the background, gathering supplies with the gentle discretion of someone who understood the value of simplicity. These small excursions grounded him, reminding him that life continued even in remote corners of the galaxy. And as he walked back toward the dunes, goods tucked under his arm, he felt the Force hum softly, guiding him through the gentle repetition of his days. 56. Protecting from shadows. Silent battles unseen. Though Obi-Wan lived as a hermit, danger still found its way across Tatooine's windswept wastes. Tusken raiders, unscrupulous hunters, and wandering outlaws sometimes ventured too close to the Lars homestead. Obi-Wan intervened, not with violence, but with quiet precision. A subtle gesture, a distant distraction, a calm warning carried on the wind. Most threats never realized they'd been turned aside by the hand of a Jedi. He preferred it that way. His role was not to be seen, but to watch, to guard, to ensure Luke's life unfolded untouched by the Empire's shadow. And in those silent victories, he found purpose, the steady reassurance that even small acts of protection could shape the future. 57. A lonely guardian, the weight of isolation. Despite the soft routines that filled his years, Obi-Wan felt the heaviness of solitude settle around him, like a long, unbroken dusk. He often sat outside his modest hut at night, watching the stars shimmer above the dunes, each one a reminder of the life he once lived among the Jedi. He missed the camaraderie, the conversations, the shared purpose. Yet he accepted loneliness with the same quiet grace he carried into every chapter of his life. For within the silence, he listened more deeply to the Force, letting its gentle flow soothe the ache of memory. And from that solitude, he drew a deeper strength, a calm that would serve him in the days yet to come. 58. Whispers of the Old Republic. Memories beneath the suns. In the still hours between sunset and starlight, Obi-Wan often found himself reflecting on the days of the Old Republic. The hum of lightsabers in the temple, the laughter of younglings, the calm confidence of the Council, all lived within him like distant songs carried on warm desert winds. These memories did not bring bitterness, but a soft, wistful peace, as though he were remembering a dream long since faded. He knew the galaxy had changed, yet he held on to the lessons, the friendships, and the hopes that once shaped his life. And under Tatooine's twin suns, the echoes of that past drifted gently through his thoughts, reminders of who he had been and who he still quietly remained. 59. The Jedi Way endures, stillness as a living legacy. Though he no longer wore Jedi robes or carried himself as a warrior, Obi-Wan continued to embody the Jedi Way in every breath of his quiet existence. Patience guided his steps. Compassion softened his thoughts. Wisdom flowed through each decision, no matter how small. Even in exile, he lived as a guardian of peace, not through grand gestures, but through the gentle consistency of a calm heart. He practiced meditation each day, letting the Force settle around him like morning light across the dunes. In this simplicity, the teachings of the Order endured, and in the hush of that enduring faith, he felt the Jedi spirit alive within him, steady, unbroken, waiting. 60. The call of destiny approaches, a shift in the desert wind. As the years passed, Obi-Wan sensed a subtle change in the Force, a soft pulse, like a whispered breath drifting across the sands. Something was moving, drawing nearer with each passing season. Luke was growing older now, his curiosity brightening like a young star ready to rise. And beyond Tatooine, the galaxy itself began to tremble with the first hints of rebellion and awakening. Obi-Wan felt these shifts in the quiet rustle of wind through canyon walls and the faint stirring of intuition at dawn. And from that gentle stirring, he knew the long vigil was nearing its next chapter, as destiny prepared to knock softly upon his door. 61. Meeting Luke Skywalker. Fate rekindled in the desert light. The day Obi-Wan finally revealed himself to Luke felt like a soft turning of the galaxy's great wheel. He found the boy unconscious in the sands, injured by Tusken raiders, and carried him with gentle care to the safety of his humble home. As Luke awoke, Obi-Wan sensed the Force shimmering around him, familiar, bright, and achingly reminiscent of Anakin's youthful spark. Yet unlike Anakin, Luke's presence held a steadiness, a quiet potential that felt like morning light slowly rising over the dunes. As they spoke for the first time, destiny settled quietly between them. And in Luke's curious blue eyes, Obi-Wan glimpsed a new beginning, a hope long protected, now ready to awaken. 62. The gift of a lightsaber. Passing the flame of the Jedi. Inside his small desert hut, Obi-Wan opened an old chest worn by years of sand and silence. From within, he drew Anakin's lightsaber, the elegant blue blade he had carried across countless worlds. Holding it, stirred memories both brilliant and painful, but Obi-Wan's heart remained calm. With steady hands, he offered the weapon to Luke, not as a relic of war, but as a symbol of legacy, courage, and a path waiting to unfold. The moment Luke held the hilt, the Force seemed to hum softly, as if recognizing a long-awaited connection. And in that quiet transfer of light, Obi-Wan felt the past and future touch, merging into a single luminous thread. 63. A princess's message, Leia's soft call through the stars. When Luke showed Obi-Wan the recording hidden inside R2-D2, the tiny hologram of Princess Leia flickered into the dim room like a star trembling awake. Her plea for help, her calm courage, her trust in the name Obi-Wan Kenobi, all stirred something deep within him. It had been years since he'd heard his full name spoken with such hope. As the message repeated in shimmering blue light, Obi-Wan felt the Force stir with unmistakable clarity. The time of waiting had ended. The galaxy's need had returned. And Leia, the daughter of his beloved friends, was calling to him through the shadows. And in that fragile, flickering hologram, Destiny whispered, "It is time." 64. Journey to Mos Eisley. A step into the wider galaxy. Traveling to Mos Eisley marked Luke's first true step beyond the boundaries of his quiet life, and Obi-Wan walked beside him like a steady beacon in a storm of uncertainty. The bustling streets were filled with unfamiliar faces, wandering droids, and starships humming with distant tales. Though the city bristled with danger, Obi-Wan moved with calm assurance, his presence turning chaos into something almost serene. He guided Luke through its crooked alleyways and crowded cantina, teaching him not through lectures, but through example, by remaining centered amid noise and unpredictability. And as they prepared to find passage off-world, the Force shimmered softly, pulling them ever closer to their unfolding destiny. 65. Guiding the farm boy. Gentle lessons amid new horizons. Once aboard the Millennium Falcon, Obi-Wan began guiding Luke in the earliest steps toward understanding the Force. These lessons were quiet, woven into moments of stillness between jumps through hyperspace. With the training remote floating before him, Luke learned to trust his instincts, to quiet his mind, to sense the unseen currents flowing through all things. Obi-Wan's voice, soft and steady, became a lighthouse in Luke's awakening awareness, encouraging him to listen, to breathe, to open himself without fear. Though Luke stumbled at first, the flame of potential burned steadily within him, and with each gentle success, Obi-Wan felt the Force pulse brighter, like a star slowly preparing to rise. 66. Aboard the Millennium Falcon. Rediscovering purpose in the stars. As the Falcon soared through hyperspace, Obi-Wan found himself once again surrounded by the quiet hum of engines and the expanse of starlight, a setting he had not known since the fall of the Jedi. Yet instead of sorrow, he felt a soft sense of rekindling, as though a dormant part of his spirit had opened its eyes once more. Traveling with Luke, Han, and Chewbacca reminded him that companionship still held meaning, even after years of solitude. He meditated in the ship's small corridors, letting the gentle hum guide his thoughts toward clarity. And in that return to the stars, he sensed the Force guiding him toward the next chapter of his long, luminous path. 67. Feeling the Force again. A renewed purpose in the void. As the Falcon emerged from hyperspace into the cold emptiness around the Death Star, Obi-Wan felt the Force swirl through him with an intensity he had not known in years. It was as though the galaxy itself exhaled, awakening the dormant depths of his spirit. Stepping onto the station's polished corridors, he recognized the faint echoes of the Empire's cruelty. Rigid order masking fear, silence hiding suffering. Yet within that oppressive structure, the Force whispered guidance, gentle and steady. Obi-Wan walked with quiet purpose, each footstep a soft vow to protect Luke, Leia, and the fragile hope they carried. And in that renewed connection, he felt destiny gently realigning, preparing him for what must come next. 68. The rescue of Princess Leia. Hope returned to the galaxy. Though separated from the others, Obi-Wan felt the spark of Leia's presence. Bright, brave, unyielding, even before they reached her cell block. Her spirit radiated the same fierce compassion he had once seen in Padme, mingled with the resolute strength of her adoptive family. While Luke, Han, and Chewbacca stormed the detention level, Obi-Wan moved silently through the station's arteries, disabling shields and guiding destiny without drawing attention. Leia's rescue marked more than the retrieval of a leader. It was the rekindling of a flame the Empire had tried to extinguish. and as her footsteps joined Luke's, the Force seemed to hum with soft triumph. A melody of hope revived. 69. Confronting Darth Vader, old wounds reopened in stillness. When Obi-Wan stepped into the dim corridor where Darth Vader awaited him, the moment unfolded with a quiet, inevitable gravity. Two lives, intertwined by love, loss, and destiny, stood facing each other once more. Not as teacher and student, but as echoes of what might have been. Their sabers ignited with soft hums, blue and red reflecting off cold metal walls. Yet Obi-Wan did not fight with anger. He moved with serene acceptance, letting the Force guide each measured motion. He saw Anakin behind the mask, the boy he had trained, the brother he had cherished, and in that bittersweet stillness, he understood that the time had come for a final act of grace. 70. The sacrifice. Becoming more than flesh. In the final moments of his duel with Darth Vader, Obi-Wan felt the Force gather around him like a warm, familiar embrace. Luke had arrived, the boy he had watched over, the spark of the galaxy's new dawn. And in that instant, Obi-Wan understood what the Force asked of him. With a gentle smile, he lifted his blade, not in defense, but in surrender to a higher path. As Vader's strike met only empty robes, Obi-Wan's consciousness dissolved into shimmering light. He had not died. He had transcended. And in that serene transition, he became something greater, a whisper woven into the currents of the Force, ready to guide from beyond. 71. A presence beyond death. Obi-Wan's luminous form. When Obi-Wan's physical body faded, his essence blossomed into the luminous realm of the Force. Here, he felt no pain, no fear, only peace as vast as the star-filled void. His awareness stretched gently through the galaxy, touching the quiet lives he had once protected, sensing every ripple of destiny unfolding. He could see Luke's heart, bright and earnest, reaching toward hope even in grief. Obi-Wan knew his journey was far from finished. He had simply stepped onto a new path, one where his presence could whisper through starlight and intuition. And in that radiant form, he prepared to guide Luke with the calm of 1,000 sunsets. 72. Guiding Luke from afar, the voice in the stillness. Luke first heard Obi-Wan's voice in the gentle hush of the Millennium Falcon moments after his escape. It came not from beside him, but from within the quietest part of his mind. A soft reminder, a comforting beacon. Obi-Wan spoke sparingly, allowing Luke space to grow, yet offering nudges of wisdom when the boy faltered. His tone remained warm, patient, reassuring. The same voice Luke had come to trust in their brief time together. Wherever Luke traveled, Obi-Wan's presence drifted alongside him like a protective breeze through the Force. And in those whispered words, a new chapter of mentorship began. Subtle, luminous, and eternal. 73. Whispers on Hoth, the call toward destiny. On the frozen world of Hoth, beneath sweeping winds and drifting snow, Obi-Wan's voice reached Luke once more. The boy lay weakened by the cold, his vision blurred by frost and exhaustion. In that fragile moment, Obi-Wan appeared to him as a shimmering figure of light, gentle, patient, and steady as ever. He urged Luke to seek out Master Yoda, the last great teacher who could guide him along the Jedi path. The message came not as a command, but as a soft, encouraging whisper carried through the haze of storm and fear. And as Obi-Wan's image faded into the icy night, the Force nudged Luke toward the warm glow of destiny waiting on Dagobah. 74. Training on Dagobah, sending Luke to Yoda's wisdom. When Luke arrived on Dagobah, its misty swamps hummed with ancient energy, the perfect cradle for his training. Obi-Wan watched from the luminous realm, sensing Yoda's delight, frustration, and quiet amusement as he guided the young Skywalker. Though Obi-Wan could not intervene directly, he offered subtle currents of encouragement, bolstering Luke's confidence when doubt clouded his mind. Every lesson Luke learned, from lifting stones to facing inner illusions, brought him closer to the legacy of the Jedi. Obi-Wan trusted Yoda completely, knowing that the old master would shape Luke's spirit with the same care the Order once gave to him. And in each step of Luke's training, Obi-Wan felt the galaxy inch slowly toward balance once more. 75. Reflections on Failure and Hope. Growth in the Afterlife. From the quiet, luminous plane of the Force, Obi-Wan often reflected on his life with a gentleness shaped by years of growth and compassion. He acknowledged the mistakes that had shaped Anakin's fall, the moments he wished he could have seen more clearly, the choices he would forever carry. Yet he no longer viewed them with sorrow alone. Instead, he embraced the truth that failure too could become a teacher, one that illuminated compassion, humility, and renewed purpose. Watching Luke rise where Anakin had faltered eased the ache in his spirit. And through those reflections, Obi-Wan discovered that hope was not merely a lesson, but an eternal companion, guiding all who seek the light. 76. Understanding Anakin's path. Compassion in retrospect. In the luminous calm of the afterlife, Obi-Wan came to understand Anakin in ways that had been clouded by fear and urgency during their final years together. He saw the boy's turbulent heart more clearly, the love that ran too deep, the longing that pulled too strongly, the wounds that no one fully recognized until it was too late. From this new vantage, anger dissolved into compassion, and regret softened into acceptance. Obi-Wan realized that Anakin's fall was not born of malice, but of pain. And this understanding eased the weight he had carried for so long. And in that gentle clarity, he felt the Force weave forgiveness like a soft thread through both their spirits. 77. Speaking through starlight. The wisdom of the wills. As Obi-Wan's consciousness expanded within the glowing realm of the Force, he brushed against truths whispered by the ancient wills, beings older than temples, older than memory, older than the first hum of a lightsaber. Through them, he learned how the Force sings through every star, how time folds like soft fabric, how life and death are but different rooms in the same warm house. Their teachings deepened his serenity, helping him guide Luke with even greater tenderness. He became not just a Jedi spirit, but a quiet echo of cosmic wisdom. And in the glow of that starlit knowledge, Obi-Wan felt himself become part of something vast, patient, and eternal. 78. A guardian. Across time, watching generations rise and fall. Freed from the limits of physical form, Obi-Wan watched the galaxy move through its seasons. The rise of rebellion, the fall of tyranny, and the quiet moments in between. He witnessed Luke's courage, Leia's strength, and the steady ripple of hope spreading from their choices. He observed new friendships form, new alliances strengthen, and the gentle awakening of the Force in hearts across distant worlds. Though unseen, he was always present, a quiet guardian, a guiding breeze, a whisper that nudged heroes toward the light. And across the flow of years, Obi-Wan held one truth close, that hope, once kindled, radiates through time like a star that never fades. 79. Appearing on the forest moon. Serenity after victory. When the second Death Star fell above Endor and the galaxy exhaled in relief, Obi-Wan's spirit appeared beside Yoda and Anakin, watching Luke celebrate among friends and family. The forest moon shimmered with life, flickering torches, laughter carried on the night wind, the gentle rustle of leaves swaying beneath starlight. In that peaceful glow, Obi-Wan felt a quiet joy settle into his luminous form. He saw redemption in Anakin's restored presence, pride in Luke's steadfast heart, and gratitude for the balance gently returning to the galaxy. And as the celebration continued, Obi-Wan stood with serene contentment, a silent guardian witnessing hope finally bloom. 80. A spirit of peace, eternal calm in the Force. Freed from the burdens of physical life, Obi-Wan dwelled in the Force with a serenity deeper than meditation had ever offered. His consciousness drifted like a soft current through starlight, touching worlds in need of comfort and offering gentle guidance to those who listened. In this state, he felt the connection between all living beings, the fears that trembled in their hearts, the joys that sparkled like constellations, the choices that shaped destinies. He held each of these experiences with compassion, understanding that peace is not a final destination, but a quiet rhythm flowing through time. And in that endless calm, Obi-Wan remained a beacon of gentle light, ever present, ever patient. 81. Stories told across worlds, legends born of kindness. In the years following the fall of the Empire, tales of Obi-Wan Kenobi began to drift through the galaxy like soft echoes carried on stellar winds. Some remembered him as a mysterious hermit in the desert, others as a wise general of the Clone Wars, and many as a mentor who helped ignite the spark that toppled tyranny. Yet beneath every version of the story lay a shared truth. Obi-Wan was a symbol of compassion, humility, and unwavering hope. His name became a quiet legend, whispered in marketplaces, rebel bases, and distant colonies, a reminder that light can emerge even from the darkest chapters. And through these gentle retellings, his spirit lived on, woven into the dreams of generations yet to come. 82. The symbol of patience. A Jedi ideal, remembered across the galaxy, Obi-Wan Kenobi came to embody patience. Not the passive quiet of waiting, but the gentle strength of listening, observing, and acting only when the moment was right. Students of the Force spoke of how he breathed through conflict, how he allowed truth to rise naturally, how his calm presence softened fear in those around him. Even those who never met him felt inspired by the stories. The general who eased tensions with a word, the teacher who guided through quiet wisdom, the hermit who guarded hope in silence. His patience became a lesson etched into Jedi philosophy, a reminder that peace is found not in haste, but in understanding. And through that enduring ideal, Obi-Wan's spirit continued to ripple softly through time. 83. The master of two generations. From Anakin to Luke, few Jedi had ever guided two figures as influential as Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. Father and son, light and shadow, fall and redemption intertwined. Obi-Wan carried both their stories in his heart. With Anakin, he learned the complexity of mentorship, the joy of shared triumphs, the pain of mistakes, the depth of unconditional care. With Luke, he discovered renewal, a second chance to nurture hope, to offer gentle guidance, to sow the seeds of balance. These two journeys mirrored one another, reflecting the galaxy's cycles of darkness and light. And in bridging these generations, Obi-Wan became a living thread between past and future, a guide whose lessons shaped the fate of the stars. 84. Lessons for future Jedi. what endures beyond time. As whispers of the Jedi returned in the years after the Empire's fall, many looked to Obi-Wan's life as a source of quiet guidance. His teachings endured in simple truths: that compassion is strength, that humility keeps hearts clear, that the Force flows most freely through those who surrender control. Young Force sensitives found comfort in the stories of his kindness, his restraint, his unwavering belief in redemption. These lessons, passed from one generation to the next, formed a gentle foundation for rebuilding what had been lost. And in those enduring teachings, Obi-Wan's wisdom lived on, shaping the dreams of every seeker who reached for the light with an open heart. 85. The burden of a teacher. Quiet truths held in the heart. Every teacher carries memories of the students they've guided, but Obi-Wan's journey held a weight few could fathom. He bore the joy of Anakin's early triumphs, the pain of his fall, and the solemn responsibility of shaping Luke's first steps into the Force. Yet he never allowed regret to eclipse compassion. In the stillness of the luminous realm, Obi-Wan reflected on the delicate balance between guidance and freedom, understanding that a teacher can open doors but cannot walk through them for another. His wisdom came not from perfection, but from humility and loving perseverance. And in those quiet truths, he discovered that even sorrow could become a teacher, shaping him into a gentler guardian of the future. 86. A life of compassionate restraint, strength. Woven softly among all Jedi, Obi-Wan was known for a rare kind of strength, one rooted not in aggression or dominance, but in compassionate restraint. He fought only when he must, healed whenever he could, and approached every conflict with the hope that dialogue might replace violence. Even in battle, his movements carried grace, as though he flowed with the Force rather than against it. He held the power to strike fear into his enemies, yet chose instead to inspire peace in his allies. His restraint was not weakness, but a quiet, steadfast courage. And through that gentle strength, he reminded the galaxy that true power often speaks in whispers, not in shouts. 87. The galaxy's quiet guardian, heroism hidden in humility. While tales of grand heroes echoed loudly across the galaxy, Obi-Wan's legacy moved differently, soft, subtle, like a warm breeze weaving between the stars. He never sought recognition, never boasted of victory, never craved the spotlight of legend. His heroism lived in the shadows, protecting Luke from afar, guiding Leia through her father's story, offering hope in the moments when it seemed most fragile. Even after his passing, his presence lingered as a gentle comfort rather than a triumphant roar. And through his humble guardianship, the galaxy came to understand that some of its greatest heroes are the ones who walk quietly beside us, shaping destiny with kindness. 88. Echoes in Luke's trials, the mentor's influence. As Luke faced trials that would shape the destiny of the galaxy, Obi-Wan's presence lingered like a guiding breeze at the edge of his awareness. Each time Luke faltered, he remembered the calm tone of Obi-Wan's voice, the quiet confidence in his teachings, the steady reassurance that the Force was always with him. During moments of darkness, Obi-Wan's lessons echoed in Luke's heart. Breathe, trust, listen. And when Luke made choices rooted in compassion rather than fear, they reflected the gentle foundation his first mentor had built. And in those echoes, soft as distant starlight, Obi-Wan's wisdom continued to shape Luke's journey, long after his physical form had faded. 89. Hope passed forward. light carried into new generations. Obi-Wan believed deeply that hope was not something a single person held, but something passed from one heart to another, shared, nurtured, and grown. Luke carried that hope forward, spreading it through his actions, his courage, and the compassion that guided him even in the darkest moments. Leia carried it too, through her leadership, her resilience, and her unwavering belief in justice. Every life they touched extended Obi-Wan's legacy, like ripples expanding across a tranquil lake. His influence became not a memory of one man, but a living flame shared by many. And through that flame, Obi-Wan's spirit continued to illuminate pathways for those seeking peace. 90. A name remembered in peace. The gentleness of memory. Long after the battles quieted and the galaxy began stitching itself back together, the name Obi-Wan Kenobi remained a soft, revered whisper spoken in gratitude. Some remembered him as a wise general, others as a humble hermit, and many as the mentor who helped awaken the Jedi once more. But above all, his name carried a feeling, a warm, peaceful resonance, as though speaking it invited calm into the room. His memory softened grief, inspired courage, and brought comfort to those who believed the Force still watched over them. And in that gentle remembrance, Obi-Wan lived on, not as a legend of war, but as a symbol of enduring kindness. 91. The balance he sought. Harmony in all things. Throughout his life, Obi-Wan Kenobi strived for balance, within himself, within others, and within the galaxy. He understood that balance was not an end state, but a gentle, ongoing dance between light and shadow, motion and stillness, hope and uncertainty. In the quiet spaces of the Force, he came to see that every choice, every act of compassion, every moment of patience contributed to the harmony he sought. Even when the galaxy fell into darkness, Obi-Wan never lost sight of this delicate alignment. And in the luminous calm of the afterlife, he finally felt the harmony he had pursued for so long, a serene flow of light that embraced all things. 92. The Jedi who endured, strength through storms. Few Jedi lived through as many upheavals as Obi-Wan. Wars, betrayals, the fall of the Order, and the loss of those he loved. Yet through every storm, he endured not with stubborn force, but with gentle resilience. His strength was quiet, the kind that blossoms in the hearts of those who continue to rise even when the world grows dark. He never allowed pain to harden him, or fear to consume him. Instead, he moved forward with grace, shaping each hardship into wisdom. His endurance became a beacon for future generations, a whisper that the light can survive even the longest night. And through that lasting resilience, Obi-Wan's spirit glowed with a steady, unfading warmth. 93. A life of difficult choices, the weight of destiny. Obi-Wan's path was shaped by choices no one should ever have to make. Sacrifices bound to duty, loyalty tested by love, and decisions forged in the heartache of impossible dilemmas. He chose to train Anakin, to fight in the Clone Wars, to face the brother he loved on Mustafar, and later to stand against the Empire in silence. Each choice carried its own ache, yet he bore these burdens with humility, trusting the deeper flow of the Force. Destiny asked much of him, and he answered with unwavering grace. And in reflecting upon his life, Obi-Wan understood that even the heaviest choices can lead to hope, if they are made with compassion. 94. Mercy. Even in battle, the heart of a true Jedi. Obi-Wan Kenobi fought many battles, yet his heart always leaned toward mercy rather than destruction. Even in the heat of combat, He sought peaceful resolution, offering his opponents a chance to stand down, to choose a different path, to let the cycle of violence rest. His lightsaber was never a weapon of dominance, but a shield for the innocent, a quiet statement of protection. He understood that true bravery was measured not by victory, but by the compassion one showed even to an enemy. And though the galaxy often forced him into conflict, he never surrendered this gentle core. And through that unwavering mercy, Obi-Wan revealed the deepest truth of the Jedi, that strength begins with kindness. 95. The hum of his blade, a symbol of protection. Few sounds in the galaxy held the same calming resonance as the hum of Obi-Wan's blue lightsaber. To those who fought beside him, that steady tone signaled safety, a radiant boundary between hope and harm. Its glow reflected the serenity he carried into every mission, a soft blue reminder of the peace he sought to restore. Even in the darkest moments, when blaster fire filled the air and shadows pressed close, the sight of Obi-Wan's blade brought clarity and comfort. For his saber was not merely a Jedi weapon. It was a promise that he would protect those who could not protect themselves. And in its luminous shimmer, the Force whispered of the unwavering guardian who wielded it. 96. From Stygeon to the stars. A life shaped by the Force. Obi-Wan's journey began on the quiet world of Stygeon, far from the bright corridors of Coruscant and the vast theaters of galactic history. From that humble beginning, he stepped into a life guided by the Force, learning, exploring, teaching, and persevering through the galaxy's greatest shifts. His path stretched from youngling to master, from general to hermit, from mortal to luminous spirit, each chapter woven with both joy and sorrow, loss and renewal. Looking back across the arc of his life, one truth shone brightly. Every step, no matter how small, had carried him toward greater wisdom. And from that long, winding journey, the Force shaped a guardian whose light touched countless lives. 97. Patience is power. His greatest strength. Across the sweeping chapters of Obi-Wan's life, patience remained his truest companion. He knew that the Force moved in its own quiet rhythms, and he trusted those rhythms with steady devotion. Whether guiding younglings, negotiating peace, or waiting in the lonely sands of Tatooine, Obi-Wan understood that rushing destiny only clouds the path ahead. His patience was not passive. It was purposeful, attentive, alive with understanding. Through calm breath and centered heart, he found clarity in moments when others felt only fear. And in that gentle mastery of patience, he revealed a kind of power that didn't shout, but whispered, guiding the galaxy toward balance with soft, unwavering grace. 98. Hope as a legacy, what he offered the galaxy. In the end, Obi-Wan Kenobi's greatest gift to the galaxy was not victory, nor strength, nor even wisdom. It was hope. A quiet, enduring hope that lived in every life he touched. He passed it to Anakin in their earliest days, to Padme in her moments of trust, to Luke in each gentle lesson, and to Leia through the echoes of her parents' bravery. Hope flowed through every choice he made, even in times when darkness surrounded him. It was the invisible thread connecting his past to the future he would never see, yet deeply believed in. And through that legacy of hope, Obi-Wan's presence continued to glow, subtle, steady, and eternal. 99. The unbroken light. A spirit never dimmed. Even after the fall of the Jedi, after the long solitude of exile, after his passage into the Force, Obi-Wan's light never dimmed. It stretched across generations, a soft radiance that touched hearts long after his physical journey ended. That light appeared in Luke's compassion, in Leia's courage, in the countless souls who found strength through their example. It shimmered in the way people spoke his name, with respect, with warmth, with gratitude. Obi-Wan had faced failure, heartbreak, and loss, yet his spirit remained whole, unbroken, and bright. And through that enduring glow, the galaxy remembered that even the quietest guardian can shine far beyond their lifetime. 100, the eternal guardian, watching over dreams in the Force. Even as ages pass and the galaxy spins through cycles of light and shadow, Obi-Wan Kenobi's presence lingers like a warm breath upon the stars. No longer bound by time or form, he moves through the currents of the Force with gentle purpose, watching over those who carry hope in their hearts. He is the whisper that steadies a trembling hand, the calm thought that brings clarity in darkness, the unseen comfort that drifts into lonely moments. His spirit rests not in monuments or stories, but in the quiet courage of those who choose compassion over fear. And as the night deepens and the stars shimmer softly above, Obi-Wan remains, an eternal guardian, guiding every dream touched by the Force. And as our long journey through the life of Obi-Wan Kenobi comes to a peaceful close, may your mind settle into stillness, and may the Force bring balance to your dreams tonight. You've walked beside a guardian of hope, through deserts and starships, through war and wisdom, through loss, love, and luminous serenity. Now, the galaxy grows quiet again, its stars dimming to a soft silver glow. If these stories helped you drift into calm, remember to like, subscribe, and share which Star Wars era you'd love to fall asleep to next. Your voice guides the journeys we take, and there are countless worlds still waiting in the dark, ready to whisper their tales. When you're ready to keep dreaming, tap the end screen to begin the next bedtime voyage and fall asleep beneath another sky of twin suns and gentle moons. For now, rest well, traveler. Let the Force cradle your heart, and may peace follow you into the quiet of the night. The galaxy is vast, but you are never alone within its light. Sleep deeply, and may the Force be with you, always.